The fix for the grounded 737 MAX 8 jets and how soon they could fly again. What to do with that historically large Powerball jackpot. The best way to read to your kids. And the chances of the Rock Hall induction coming to Cleveland every year. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. Put your tray tables up, buckle in. Jimmy is off tonight, so they gave Matt and me the keys to the car, or in this case, the airplane.
Yeah, that's right. We'll try not to break it. Obviously, we've got a lot of news to get to, so let's get to today's headlines. Chris Ty starts us off tonight with tonight's 77 Seconds at 7.
Boeing says they have their fix. The 737 MAX 8 airplanes are getting software fixes and cockpit alerts, additional training for all pilots flying them, and they say that will prevent more crashes like the ones that killed several hundred over the last 6 months. This is Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao told Congress today there was no reason to ground the planes earlier.
The FAA is a fact-based organization, and based on the information that everyone had at that time, there was no factual basis upon which to ground the planes.
Insiders tell CNBC the earliest the planes could get back in the sky would be mid-next month. In a newly released memoir, former First Lady Barbara Bush lays into President Donald Trump, even blaming him for giving her a heart attack. Her book, titled The Matriarch, recalls Mrs. Bush's heart problems in February of 2016 after the president said her son Jeb should just, quote, give up and go home to mom. The former First Lady describes Trump as, quote, greedy, selfish, and ugly. The Federal Food and Drug Administration issuing a dog food warning. They say Darwin's natural pet products, raw dog food, poses a serious threat to human and animal health. WKYC.com has more on that. And the International Olympic Committee Executive Board has recommended sports for the 2024 Olympics. Darren Ravel of the Action Network HQ reports it includes breakdancing.
So, would you rather breakdance? They're also suggesting adding skateboarding, sports climbing, and surfing to the Paris Games of 2024.
I could see each of those.
All of them? Bring them all aboard?
Breakdancing, maybe more opening ceremonies.
You want to be starting something,
That's it. Well, this is great. You know, the Boeing stuff is always interesting to follow. It impacts so many more people than they realize simply because they're trying to reallocate all these different flights.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have so many planes around the world that are grounded, this is not just a domestic thing. This is, this is a global thing. And Boeing is making the point there is still no conclusion as to what brought those two planes down, the Ethiopian and the Indonesian, but they think they have this fix with that software modification. We're going to keep on top of that.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much, Chris.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Matt?
All right, thanks a lot, Betsy. Now, if you've tried to buy a car lately, you're probably doing a double take. After years of low rates, car loan interest rates have risen to their highest levels in nearly a decade. As CNBC's Phil LeBeau explains, it could spell trouble for local dealers.
It's getting more expensive to buy a new car or truck. Not only are automakers raising prices on vehicles, the interest rates on auto loans have soared to a 10-year high. Last month, the average rate for a new car auto loan was 6.26%, up more than 1% compared to a year ago, and well above the average rate from 5 years ago.
So someone's coming back into the market after maybe years ago paying a 1.9, which was quite common, and now they're up to a 5%. That is a big monetary difference.
Why is it costing more to borrow money for an auto loan? One factor is the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, which in turn is pushing up rates on all types of loans. It's also forcing automakers to pull back on offers for 0% financing. Meanwhile, both dealers and lenders are much more selective about who qualifies for the lower rate loans. Even though buyers are being forced to pay more, it's not stopping them from choosing pricier models of trucks and SUVs.
People right now are ponying up and essentially still continuing to buy these cars, although we do think that there is, some caution ahead in terms of how long this can last.
And as those interest rates have gone up, more buyers are being forced to consider the option of leasing instead of buying. While lease interest rates may not be that much lower, in general, those that lease tend to spend about $100 less per month than those that buy.
Well, the Powerball jackpot keeps climbing, and the lottery is now on the verge of handing out one of the biggest jackpots in American history. The Powerball jackpot now whopping $750 million for tonight's drawing. But what would you do with all that money? I mean, could you really spend it all? Well, Jasmine Monroe, our shopper in-house, has some ideas.
Big money tonight across the country. It's
the great American fantasy. And once in a while, it actually becomes a reality. What would you do with the winning ticket? 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and more than 13,000 square feet, and it's only $8 million? Not bad, I'll take it. And a new car, or 2, or 3. I probably spend all my money on shoes and take plenty of vacations, but I wouldn't forget to donate to charity or share with my family. Enough about me. What would you do with $750 million?
$750 million? Powerball. Oh my Jesus, don't even get me to dream it.
Buy more motorcycles.
Set up trust.
Give to parents.
A house and a car.
About 3 Jeeps, just because I need a Jeep.
A new boat. Serve humanity.
Go on vacation.
Be out of the city in a heartbeat.
Give to charity.
Discover the possibilities.
Spread the wealth.
No more work.
No student loans.
Donate to charity. You'll never know.
Nothing at first.
Pay my debt.
Pay my bills.
Help my family.
Really don't know.
Donate to charity.
Need a car.
Retire, have fun.
I don't know. Help my family.
Help less fortunate.
Buy a new truck.
I'll be rich.
The odds of actually winning the top Powerball prize are roughly 1 in 292 million. But hey, who's counting? Good luck.
Well, considering we both have 2 kids and eventually have to put them through college, I have a feeling there'd be some kind of a savings plan.
I think so too.
Place.
One for braces, one for all these other things you have to deal with as well.
But then what would you do? I mean, what's the first splurge buy you would do?
I don't know. There's nothing. Material possessions aren't everything. You know, I would probably put it in savings until I figured it out. But seriously, I don't know. A boat? Maybe.
Are you kidding me? You're kidding, right? Material possession.
Yeah.
What
would you get? What would you get?
Oh my gosh, I would totally pay off the house.
Yeah.
Number one.
I can see that.
Take a vacation, a good long vacation. I'm sorry, I would have to put in my 2 weeks notice, or maybe just not even. But yeah, there would definitely be more travel, family time, and that ability to just knock out of work for a while.
It kind of goes back to that, how people are spending more money on experiences now than things. That's kind of where I want to go.
And speaking of experiences.
That's right. Speaking of experiences, have you heard about some new news, Betsy?
Yes.
This is new research saying story time with the kids is better with paper books rather than ebooks. Now, the University of Michigan, can't believe I just said that being an Ohio State grad. But anyway, they find that reading print books to kids generates more conversation and leads to better interactions than the electronic kind. Findings show that the device becomes more the focus instead of the story when reading digital books. You agree with that?
Oh, I absolutely agree with it, because what would a story be without the anticipation and trying to turn the pages ahead? That's what the kids always do, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Read ahead.
I totally agree with that. Do you use all paper books?
We do. We love the library. Our library system here is second to none.
It really
and
is.
We visit both the Cleveland Public Library and the library systems around the area.
Yeah. Well, if you want to come over, we've got our own library in our house. It's unreal how many books you gather over time.
It makes a big difference for sure.
Sure
Well, the
does.
recipe for success, not just reading to your kids, but this is one that keeps Cleveland International Film Festival a must-see event.
And later, the chances that Cleveland could host the Rock Hall inductions every single year.
Channel 3 News at 7, Donovan Live, is made possible by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
The 43rd Cleveland International Film Festival kicks off today, and this year it's bigger and better than ever, with an expansion into Gordon Square on the west side and the University Circle to the east.
Now, Jimmy, even though he's not here right now, got to sit down with one of the festival's organizers for a sneak peek at what to expect this year.
43rd year, and here we go. What is the success potion for this?
We're just very fortunate that we're in Cleveland, Ohio,
We've got a lot of enthusiastic film goers in this city and this region. The Cleveland International Film Festival for the last 4 years has topped attendance of 100,000, so we're just so grateful.
It all began with just 8 films in 1977, and my, how things have changed. This year, the Cleveland International Film Festival boasts more than 600 screenings. Associate Director Patrick Shepard has watched the growth firsthand over the past 2 decades.
When I started 21 years ago, we were at about 35,000 in attendance, and we just slowly expanded over time, and it's because the community wanted more.
This year's festival runs from March 27th through April 7th and features films from 71 countries.
This year, you're over 210. You're at 213 as you and I sit here right now, with 200 or so documentaries. That is an amazing growth.
There's a lot of great film to screen, and we also have another 237 short films that are presented in collective programs. And I gotta say, there's a little bit in this festival for everyone.
In past years, the festival has premiered memorable hits like 2016's Believe Land.
Believe Land, the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, which included you, Jim, as part of it, was the biggest film in festival history. So many people saw it because of the festival and because it was about the Indians, the Browns, and the Cavs. It was very compelling.
Here was the cool thing about Believe Land that night it premiered, okay? Packed house over at Playhouse Square. The anticipation of when it finally went up on screen. But then the moment it ended, people said, when do I get an opportunity to see it again? Because I really want to see it again. That's when you know you've hit a home run.
What is special about a film festival is the opportunity to engage directors and people in the film.
If you like Believe Land, this year you'll want to check out Long Time Coming, a 1955 baseball story.
They refused to play us because we were black and they were white.
It's a fascinating documentary focused on the Little League State Championship in 1955 in the segregated South. Great thing about this film is it shows a reunion of these players on the same grounds where the game took place. It's really, really quite the story.
Sports fan or not, there are films for everybody and every interest too. And one thing you can't argue, it's an exciting time to be in Cleveland.
In the wide landscape of this, okay, what do you think this does for Cleveland?
We feel that we're just trying to make our community a better place in which to live. There are thousands of ways to do that, but this is the way that we choose to do it. And if you go downtown for 12 days between March 27th and April 7th, you're going to see a very vibrant downtown with the film festival running with those 600 screenings.
Well, my suggestion would be print out the calendar as best you can, grab one of these or a highlighter and get to work because you will need to schedule it. The Cleveland International Film Festival runs now through April 7th. We, of course, are a proud media partner, so be sure to visit WKYC.com throughout for more features on the information. Well, the magic Cleveland moments that wouldn't be possible without our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Plus, it's beautiful now as we take a look down on Progressive Field as that sun sets, but I think this might not stick around. We can't have nice things around here, right? We will have Betsy's forecast coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a good question for you. Can you rock out and actually play music at the Rock Hall? Could the induction ceremony come to Cleveland every year? And what's the status of the Nkaya Music Festival?
Betsy, those are some really good burning questions tonight. Well, thankfully, tonight's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame CEO, Greg Harris, joins Will Ewick with some of those answers in a Let's Be Clear interview.
Open, candid, honest clarity. Let's talk to the newsmakers and politicians and influencers, and let's ask them your questions. Let's be clear.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened their doors along the Lake Erie shore in 1995, with over 55,000 square feet of exhibitions and new inductees being enshrined every year. It all falls on the shoulders of the Rock Hall CEO, Greg Harris, who agreed to pause his rock schedule and roll into the Let's Be Clear truck.
I want to ask you about what's coming up here at the Rock Hall. 2019, I mean, obviously there's an induction, but that's up in New York. But what else is going on down here in Cleveland?
We'll be installing the new inductee exhibit, but we're also building an amazing thing on our second floor.
It's called, the Sonic Loft, and it's a place for visitors to play music. We're gonna have electric guitars. We'll have mixing stations. We'll have bass guitars, drum sets. They can go in, they can plug in, they can jam.
Having the induction here, it went from 1 every 3, 1 every 2.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Cleveland every year in the future, or?
So I'll back you up a hair. In the first 24 years of inductions, it was in Cleveland once.
Yeah.
So it was here in '97. It feels like a really good easing into it. For the time being, this really works well. But it is pretty special in Cleveland. When it's here, it's an entire week of events, and it really has a different vibe.
Best induction moment for you?
Wow. Every year has its own moments. Seeing Ringo and Paul McCartney playing together on stage at Public Auditorium where they played together 50 years earlier, that's pretty remarkable.
The Ukiah Music Festival, your name was attached to it. How involved were you guys in that, and is it something that you kind of look at, it was disappointing, we need to kind of reshuffle how we do that, or what's the plan going forward?
Yeah, we were one of a community partners that were involved in the event. We all felt and still feel that a downtown festival makes sense for Cleveland. When New Order was out there on stage, and there was over 10,000 people downtown, getting all of that in year one is actually very successful. The question with all these festivals is there enough gas in the tank to sustain it for a couple of years till it becomes a real positive endeavor. And right now I think everybody's pausing and looking and deciding if it will be coming back next year, if it's going to come back the year after, or what the long-term future is for it.
Well, what is the best piece of memorabilia in the Rock Hall, and who deserves to be inducted that hasn't? CEO Greg Harris continues answering your questions in part 2 of his Let's Be Clear interview tonight, coming up at 11.
Well, here we are back in the Weather Center. Our beautiful Weather Center that we love.
It's so comfortable here.
Right? It's so different. So, Matt, this is your first time kind of co-hosting, co-anchoring.
You make
a good
it
job.
easy.
Well, you should try it with Russ. It's like, he just kind of guides the ship, fortunately. But you did a nice job.
Thank you very much. You too.
It's kind of fun, right? Something a little bit different. We've been all over the studio. Usually we're locked here in the weather cave, but, we still have to do the weather portion of things. So I guess I'll
That's
just
the fun part.
Keep on rocking out with that. Let's take a look at the forecast as we head through the overnight hours. We will have more clouds moving in. Temperatures are going to stay up tonight. We did begin in the 20s, and as we head through the day tomorrow, we're going to start in the 40s, and it's going to be a mild day for us all in all. The big difference is, yes, we have the clouds, but even over there at 9 a.m., you see those blue things? Those would be the raindrops. We are going to add some rain to the forecast. Temperatures are variable across the area, and that's because of our beautiful Lake Erie, where the water temperature is 38 degrees. We have a northerly breeze coming in off the lake, and that's helping to put the chill on the lakeshore areas, whereas farther to the south, it's a southerly breeze, wide open with warmer temperatures, made it well into the 50s south, stuck right about 40 degrees on the lakeshore. Farther west, the clouds are increasing already. The rain showers are starting to show up in the Mississippi River Valley region, and all of this is going to continue eastbound, so we are expecting these clouds to increase, and yes, we'll bring rain chances into the area through tomorrow. By 11 p.m. this evening, we are talking about temperatures right around the 40-degree marker, so on average. And then 7 a.m. we should be stuck right at about that point. But watch what happens through the morning. The rain spreads in from west to east across the area. Winds will be picking up out of the south. So it'll be breezy. It'll be raining. It's one of those days when you're carrying the umbrella. It's going to get wind blown and the pant legs are going to get wet anyway, so it's just going to be one of those kind of days. But you can see the temperatures are generally in the 40s midday. Even in the afternoon and the evening, we're going to hold right about 50 degrees or so, but you can see the scattered rain showers holding with us. The southwesterly winds staying with us too, and we will have a predominantly southerly breeze over the next couple of days, and that is because of a storm system that's approaching for the weekend. That's going to lock in rain chances for the weekend, but it's also going to signal that we have a change that's coming by the beginning of next week. Universal Windows Direct Forecast has 56 for tomorrow, then 50 for Friday with some showers around. Back into the mid and upper 50s on Saturday before we fall. And there you see that rain snow mix chance Sunday morning. The good news, Matt, things are going to be clearing out beautifully as we head toward the Tribe Home opener. We're going mostly sunny skies, maybe a little cooler at the ballpark, but mid 40s generally speaking.
All right, thanks a lot, Betsy. The insane high-speed Harlem Globetrotters trick shot that you just have to see to believe. After one last break.
Here's what's coming up tonight on Channel 3, brought to you by the Nuremberg Paris Injury Lawyers, proudly celebrating 90 years fighting for the injured.
Yes, he did it. You saw it there. The first time in the 93-year history of the Harlem Globetrotters, one of them made a trick shot from a moving roller coaster.
Look at that. Jeez, that is Zeus McClurkin who drained that shot at the Mall of America in Minneapolis yesterday. And get this, McClurkin's hometown is the one and only Columbus, Ohio.
The Mall of America.
Mall of America.
Please, anybody could do that if they were on that little roller coaster. I would have to say this would be a big throwdown to Cedar Point.
That's right.
Let's put that dude on the Millennium.
That's the
Let's
bunny
see if
hill.
he can do it.
He had shopping bags too, though.
Oh, well, that does complicate things. Well, thank you so much for watching. Entertainment Tonight is next.
Thanks for watching Channel 3 News. Watch us live wherever you are, on our website, on our apps, and on Hulu or your Roku. No matter where you are, Channel 3 is there.